Listen to me now, and hear me loud and clear. The truth is not always what you see on the screen, not always what you read in the headlines. The truth is buried, twisted, and sometimes destroyed, and today, I am going to expose it. I will give you 5 undeniable points about how Indian media spreads hateful propaganda. Listen to me, because this is the reality most people are too blind or too distracted to see. The media in India has stopped being a pillar of truth. It has transformed into a circus of noise, a factory of drama, and a battlefield of screaming voices. When you turn on the television, what do you hear? Not facts, not balanced reporting, not the search for truth. No. What you hear are anchors shouting at the top of their lungs, drowning out reason with volume. What you see are panels of so-called experts throwing accusations like punches in a boxing ring. This is not journalism, it is entertainment dressed up as news, and it is dangerous. Why do they do this? Why does every story have to be exaggerated, twisted, and injected with emotion? Because fear sells, anger sells, hate sells. When people are calm, they ask questions, they demand solutions, they look for accountability. But when people are angry, they stop thinking, they react, they fight, they cling to the narrative fed to them. And this is exactly what the media wants. Viewers glued to the screen, hearts racing, shouting at their televisions, while the truth slips away unnoticed. Understand this. Every headline is carefully designed, every debate carefully framed, not to inform you but to provoke you. They turn ordinary events into national crises. They make trivial incidents look like threats to the nation, and they keep you addicted to outrage. Instead of facts, they give you drama. Instead of clarity, they give you confusion. Instead of peace, they give you chaos. And in the process, they have reduced journalism to a weapon, used not to enlighten but to manipulate. Think about the words they use. Have you noticed how often they rely on charged emotional language? Words like shocking, explosive, dangerous, anti-national. These are not neutral descriptions. These are triggers. They are meant to make you feel something before you even understand the story. They hijack your emotions, and once your emotions are hooked, your mind follows. This is how propaganda works, not through reasoned arguments, but through repeated emotional conditioning. And let's talk about the shouting. Why do anchors scream like they're at war? Why do they cut off guests and never allow thoughtful debate? Because a calm discussion is boring. Because reasoned analysis does not get ratings. But shouting is powerful. It raises your heartbeat. It makes you feel like something urgent is happening. It makes you believe you are watching history in the making. But in reality, you are watching a staged performance. A theater designed to trap your attention while truth suffocates in the corner. Now some people will say, but isn't this just passion? Isn't this just the media showing they care? No, do not fall for that excuse. True passion is backed by integrity, by facts, by honesty. This is not passion, this is performance, a show for the cameras, where anchors play the role of heroes or villains, while you, the viewer, become the manipulated audience, believing you are being informed when in fact you are being deceived. Do you see the danger here? When sensationalism replaces truth, when drama replaces facts, the public is left in the dark. They no longer know what is real and what is manufactured. They are too busy being angry at each other, too busy fighting over issues that may not even matter, too busy chasing the emotions the media feeds them. And when people are distracted, when they are misled, those in power are free to act without accountability. That is the real game. Distract the people, control the people. I want you to understand this clearly. Truth is often quiet, boring, and simple. Lies are loud, dramatic, and entertaining. And the Indian media has chosen the path of lies because it pays. But you cannot build a strong nation on lies. You cannot create unity on hate. You cannot empower people by keeping them addicted to outrage. So I say to you, wake up. Stop letting the noise control your mind. Stop letting the shouting anchors decide what you should think. Look deeper, search for facts, and do not let sensationalism cloud your judgment. Because if you allow drama to replace truth, then the future will be built not on knowledge but on manipulation. And that, my friends, is the greatest danger of all. Let me tell you something very important, something the media will never admit to your face. In India today, one of the most destructive weapons being used is not a bomb, not a gun, not even an army. It is the television screen. It is the media itself. And the target of this weapon, again and again, is the minority communities. Instead of protecting harmony, instead of strengthening unity, the media has chosen to demonize, to vilify, to brand innocent citizens as the enemy. This is not journalism. It is character assassination on a national scale. Look closely at the stories that dominate the headlines. When a crime happens and the accused belongs to a minority, the name, the religion, the identity are shouted from the rooftops. But when the same crime is committed by someone from the majority, suddenly it is treated as an isolated incident, a tragedy without a label. Do you see the hypocrisy? One group is constantly painted as a threat, while the other is treated with silence or sympathy. This double standard is not accidental, it is systematic. Why do they do this? Because fear of the other is the oldest trick in the book. If you want to control people, you give them an enemy to hate. You make them believe that their neighbor is dangerous, that their fellow citizen is plotting against them, that they are under constant threat. The Indian media has mastered this dark art. They pick out minorities and portray them as villains, as conspirators, as anti-nationals. They take isolated incidents and blow them up into patterns, creating the illusion that an entire community cannot be trusted. Think about the language they use. They never say a man committed a crime. No, they say a Muslim man did this, or a Christian group did that. They attach the identity on purpose. They want you to associate religion with guilt, community with crime. Over time, this creates a toxic image in the minds of millions, where an entire population becomes guilty in the court of public opinion simply because of what they believe or where they come from. And this has consequences, my friends. This is not just words on a screen. This is not just a story that ends when the news program is over. No, it enters the minds of the people. It creates division in society. It sows suspicion between neighbors. It turns citizens against each other. Suddenly, a man who has lived peacefully next door for years is seen as a potential threat. Suddenly, friendships are poisoned by distrust. This is how nations crumble, not by foreign invasion but by internal division, created and fueled by propaganda. The saddest part is that the victims are ordinary people. They are not politicians. They are not billionaires. They are workers, farmers, students, mothers, fathers, people who simply want to live their lives. But because of the labels and the stereotypes pushed by the media, they are treated as outsiders in their own land. They are questioned, harassed, sometimes even attacked, simply because the television has convinced others that they are enemies. Now some will say, but isn't the media just reporting facts? Aren't they just telling the truth? No. The truth can be told in many ways. The truth can be presented with balance, with fairness, with context. But when the media chooses to highlight identity only when it fits their agenda, when they choose to remain silent when it doesn't, that is not truth, that is bias, that is propaganda. Truth without balance becomes a weapon. And in India today, that weapon is being used to crush the dignity of minorities. And let me tell you something else. The ones who spread this poison know exactly what they are doing. They know that unity makes a nation strong, and division makes it weak. They know that if people are busy fighting each other, they will never question those in power. They will never demand justice, equality, or progress. So the media becomes the perfect tool to divide and distract, to ensure that the anger of the people is never aimed at corruption or injustice, but always at the weaker communities who cannot fight back. This is betrayal, pure and simple. Betrayal of the people. Betrayal of democracy. Betrayal of truth. A real journalist speaks truth to power. But these anchors and editors speak lies to the people. They have chosen the path of hate because it gives them ratings, it gives them profit, and it gives their political masters the control they desire. So I tell you this, do not be fooled. Do not let the television tell you who your enemy is. Do not let propaganda define your neighbor. Judge people by their actions, not by their religion. See them as human beings, not as labels, because if you allow the media to keep demonizing minorities unchecked, you are allowing them to destroy the very fabric of the nation. And remember this, a divided people can never rise, but a united people can never be broken. Let me tell you the harsh truth. Media in India today is no longer a watchdog of democracy. It has become a lapdog of politics. Instead of standing tall, fearless, and independent, it bows down to its political masters. Instead of questioning those in power, it protects them like a bodyguard. This is not free press. This is controlled press. And when the press becomes controlled, democracy itself is in danger. The duty of journalism is simple: to hold power accountable, to speak truth even when it is uncomfortable, to shine a light on corruption, injustice, and lies. But what do we see? We see anchors acting like spokespersons for the government. We see channels repeating official statements word for word, as if they were parrots, not journalists. We see debates carefully crafted to support the ruling agenda, and we see stories of real suffering: farmers, workers, women, the poor, pushed aside because they might make the leaders look bad. This is betrayal of the people. Ask yourself this: why is it that every time the government makes a mistake, the media finds someone else to blame? Why is it that every failure is turned into a conspiracy against the nation, while every criticism is labeled as anti-national? The answer is simple. The media has been bought, controlled, and tamed. It does not bite the hand that feeds it. It does not expose the truth that might cost it access or funding. Instead, it sells propaganda, and it sells it proudly, like a merchant in the market. And make no mistake, this is not accidental. Politicians understand the power of the screen. They know that controlling the media means controlling the minds of millions. So what do? They reward the loyal channels as advertisements, with licenses, with exclusive interviews, and those who dare to question, they are punished. They are threatened with raids, with lawsuits, with shutdowns. Slowly, one by one, the media houses learn that survival comes not from telling the truth, but from serving power. Now let's talk about the anchors. Look at their debates. Do you see hard questions being asked? Do you see leaders being grilled on policies, on promises, on failures? No. You see softballs. You see flattery. You see anchors treating politicians like celebrities instead of public servants. When a leader speaks, the media does not analyze, it glorifies. When a government scheme fails, the media does not investigate, it distracts. When the people suffer, the media does not amplify their voices, it silences them. This is not journalism, this is public relations dressed up as news. The most dangerous part is that people are starting to believe it. When the media repeats the same story every night, when it blames the same enemies, when it glorifies the same leaders, people begin to think it must be the truth. Propaganda works not because it is convincing, but because it is constant. Day after day, night after night, the same message is hammered into your mind until you stop questioning it. And that is exactly what the political masters want. Citizens who obey, not citizens who think. But let me remind you, my friends, a democracy without a free press is like a body without a spine. It cannot stand. It collapses under its own weight. The role of the media is to challenge power, not to worship it. The role of the media is to defend the people, not to serve the rulers. And when the media forgets this role, the entire nation pays the price. The tragedy is that there are still brave journalists out there, men and women who risk their lives to tell the truth. But they are drowned out by the noise of the sellouts, the puppets, the performers, and the people, instead of demanding truth, are fed lies and kept distracted. So I say this with absolute clarity. If you want a strong India, you cannot allow the media to be a servant of politics. You must demand independence, demand accountability, demand that the press be fearless again. Because if the press is free, the people are free. But if the press is controlled, the people are controlled. And I promise you this, history does not remember the lapdogs. History remembers the lions. The question is, will the media choose to be lions of truth, or will they remain chained dogs of power? Listen carefully, because this is where the game becomes crystal clear. The greatest weapon of propaganda is not always spreading lies. It is distraction. The Indian media has turned distraction into an art form. Instead of focusing on the real problems of the nation, poverty, unemployment, farmers in crisis, education, healthcare, they keep the people busy with noise, with manufactured controversies, with endless debates that solve nothing. They wave one shiny object in front of you, and while you are looking at it, the real issues are buried, ignored, forgotten. Think about it. Every day, millions of young people are struggling to find jobs. Every day, farmers are breaking their backs to survive, some even driven to despair because they cannot feed their families. Every day, hospitals lack proper facilities, people die without medicine, and children drop out of school because they cannot afford it. These are the problems that matter. These are the problems that should dominate headlines. But do they? No. Instead, you see primetime anchors screaming about religious disputes, about what someone said on social media, about what a celebrity did or didn't do. They want you to fight over identity, not demand solution. This is not accidental. This is strategy. If the media were to show the truth, if they were to highlight unemployment, corruption, hunger, then the people would start asking dangerous questions. They would ask, why has the government failed us? Why are billions being spent on image building while citizens starve? Why are promises broken year after year? These questions would shake the foundations of power. So the media does everything to avoid them. They drown these questions with distraction. They give you drama instead of facts, nationalism instead of solutions, religion instead of reality. And the worst part, people fall for it. They sit in front of their TVs, shouting at each other over issues that have no impact on their daily lives, while their real struggles go unheard. They fight over temples and mosques, over who belongs and who doesn't. While prices rise, jobs vanish, and inequality grows. This is how the game is played. Keep the people divided, keep them distracted, and you can keep them under control. Let me give you an example. A major economic crisis is happening. Businesses are shutting down. Inflation is rising. What does the media do? They will not hold the government accountable. Instead, they will start a debate about loyalty to the nation. They will accuse critics of being traitors. They will bring religion into the conversation. Suddenly, the entire nation is arguing about identity while the real problem, the empty wallets of the people, is hidden behind the curtain. This is the power of distraction. It is the same trick a magician uses on stage. He waves one hand so you don't notice what the other hand is doing. The media is the magician, and the people are the audience. But unlike a magic show, this trick is not harmless. It is deadly. It steals attention away from what matters most. It blinds people to the truth, and a blind nation cannot walk forward. It stumbles, it falls. Now ask yourself, is this the media's job? Is this why journalism exists? No. Journalism is supposed to expose the wounds of society so they can be healed. Journalism is supposed to highlight suffering so it can be addressed. But when the media becomes a tool of distraction, it becomes an enemy of progress. It keeps the people in darkness while pretending to shine a light. So I tell you this. Do not be fooled by the noise. Do not waste your energy fighting battles that the media manufactures for you. Ask the real questions. Demand answers about jobs, about health care, about education, about the future of your children. Hold the powerful accountable, not your neighbor. Because if you allow the media to keep distracting you, then nothing will change. The rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer, and you will still be fighting over illusions. Remember this truth. Distraction is the chains that keep the people enslaved. Focus is the weapon that sets them free. Do not let the media control your focus. Take it back. Look at reality, not the circus, because only then can a nation rise. Let me tell you something you must never forget. Hate is not free. Division is not free. It is a business, a dirty, ugly business, and the Indian media has become its most successful salesman. Every time you see a headline dripping with venom, Every time you watch a debate that turns neighbor against neighbor, every time you hear anchors scream about who is a patriot and who is a traitor, understand this. Someone is making money out of it. Someone is filling their pockets while the nation bleeds. The formula is simple, and it is brutal. Unity does not sell. Peace does not bring ratings. Calm discussion does not attract advertisers. But hate. Hate is explosive. Hate is addictive. Hate keeps people glued to the screen. When citizens are angry, they do not turn off the television. They keep watching, waiting for the next attack, the next insult, the next manufactured outrage. And while you are trapped, the media counts the money, the politicians count the votes, and the corporations count the profits. This is why every issue is twisted into us versus them. This is why entire communities are painted as villains. This is why citizens who should be standing shoulder to shoulder are forced to see each other as enemies. Because the more divided you are, the easier it is to control you, and the more you fight, the richer they become. Division has become a business model, and the nation has become the marketplace. Think about how they do it. They will take one crime, one incident, one careless statement, and blow it up into a national crisis. They will repeat it again and again, not to inform you, but to inflame you. They will attach labels. They will stir emotions. They will pour fuel on the fire until it explodes. And when it does, when people are shouting in the streets, when communities are clashing, the media sits back and smiles, because chaos means ratings, and ratings mean profit. But what happens to the country? What happens to the people? Trust is destroyed. Brotherhood is destroyed. Generations of harmony are broken in a matter of days. Suddenly neighbors who lived side by side for decades see each other with suspicion. Children grow up learning not to trust, but to fear. This is how a nation tears itself apart, not by outside enemies, but by internal division fueled for profit. And let's not pretend this is ignorance. No. The media knows exactly what it is doing. They know that every lie, every exaggeration, every scream will drive a deeper wedge into society, but they do not care, because their loyalty is not to truth, not to the people, not to the nation, it is to their bottom line. They are merchants of hate, selling poison in the name of patriotism, selling lies in the name of news. Ask yourself, who benefits from a divided nation? Do ordinary citizens benefit? No. They suffer. They lose friends. They lose peace. Sometimes they even lose their lives. Do politicians benefit? Yes, because a divided nation can be manipulated with slogans instead of solutions. Do corporations benefit? Yes, because chaos keeps people distracted from exploitation. And the media, oh yes, the media benefits the most, because they are the middlemen of hate, turning division into dollars, conflict into currency. This is the greatest betrayal of all. A journalist should unite people with facts, not divide them with lies. A journalist should empower people with truth, not weaken them with propaganda. But today, too many in the Indian media have chosen the path of betrayal. They have chosen profit over principle, ratings over responsibility, greed over nation. So I say to you, do not let them win. Do not buy their poison. Do not let them turn you against your brother, your neighbor, your fellow citizen. Recognize the game and refuse to play it. Because the truth is this: division only serves the masters of propaganda. Unity serves the people. Hate makes the media rich, but love, solidarity, and truth, that makes a nation strong.